able to say that at least we are taken serious and we are part of the policy forming processes. Lastly, comrades, another thing is that it's very easy, comrades, what you must do, assist young people to access community halls so that they can be able to further their arts interest and sports interest and so on and so forth. Because sometimes that's all that they need from us as the ANC Youth League.
Your time
Go
is
to
up.
schools, go to community halls. And then lastly, comrades, Comrade Jacob Kawe says, if churches are able to convince society to believe in the Bible so much, why is the ANC and the ANC Youth League struggling to convince society to believe in the NDR such that the NDR becomes embedded even in the songs that young people are singing? They must sing about the NDR. The paintings, the cultural paintings that they do on walls, they must be speaking to the program of the NDR. Then you must know that young people are truly within our program of advancing the NDR for a national democratic society. And I'm saying the only way to do this is for us to be deliberately involved in young people's programs. So it must not just be our programs that are organized by us, programs that are organized by ordinary young people, especially in Ekas. The Youth League must support those programs and be deliberate. And then young people will infuse themselves automatically into the NDR. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks, comrades. I will start with you, Mfundo. Yeah, I think we shouldn't be too hard on ourselves, but I agree with the points as raised. There's really nothing strategic about recruiting, or that, a huge amount of strategy that is required. I think it's a yeah, I don't want to sound as if I'm rebutting what you've said. But look, I agree. Recruitment is correct, but you don't just go to people and give them the NDR. Imagine being recruited in the YCL today, and Malaudi gives you Das Capital, all 32 volumes. You just give them Das Capital and say, he's the YCL, you give them the Communist Manifesto. Do we do it like that, Comrade Malaudi? There are ABCs of Marx. They take you through. Then the Das Capitals will then come. So I'm saying we shouldn't complicate the process of recruiting young people. You are correct, I agree with you. We must find out where they are. We go to them. Support them. Adopt local soccer teams. You're correct, Comrade Toku. We adopt them, and that's what the Youth League should be doing. And you will see they are naturally, you're not even going to force them. You're not even going to remind them that you must pick your ID and go and vote. Naturally, you've won them over. Because like he has said, branches, basic units, that's where everything starts. That's why even ourselves in our own processes, there's no president who can rise from Nazareth. The process starts at a branch. Everything starts there. And that's why those BEC and the additionals, they've got subcommittees that they must serve in, that they must service. Being an activist is not a complicated matter. Understand your surrounding, where you exist, the struggles of young people where you are, and have the appetite to resolve them. So, yeah, others were comments. I agree. There are millions of young people that feel neglected. I can't remember who was saying this, but I think it's here. You know, comrades, the issue of schools and how we venture into that space, it's an important discussion that we need to have. You know, when we grew up in schools, after school, if you are playing netball, you go to a netball court. If you are playing soccer, you go to our schools no longer do that, and it is the SAS, it's the COSAS, the Youth League, and the SASCO that must actually say, how do we assist COSAS to ensure that we bring back those programs back into our schools? So it speaks to our own issues of the school curriculums as well, that we continuously speak about as the ANC Youth League and COSAS. Comrade President Mbulelo Mandla spoke profoundly about the imaginative nature of young people. And that is why, inherently so, the Youth League must always be found where young people in the arts are. Because that's where some of this creativity will come in. And you are correct. The arts and culture also involves, there's an economic drive there. That entire value chain of an artist who must get a stylist, they must get makeup artists, that entire value chain. So it creates jobs. That's why our responsibility and our role is to show that they survive. They don't collapse. And most of them, they end up running into drugs, doing all sorts of things, and killing themselves, committing suicides, issues of mental health. It affects young people in the arts greatly because one moment you are up there, which brings me to the point of no zip. 1 minute you are up there, you are hip and happening, you are Thriller. A young man called Thriller, who wanted to commit suicide recently. Because he's crying out to all of us and saying, I've been making good music. I've been making good music, but I have been exploited by the company that I'm under. I've not made a single cent out of the music that I've made. They can't even own their craft. And because of that, exploitation, it drives them into mental, instability. And some, because there's no one who are not there to address and resolve their issues, they resort to committing suicide. And we want to sing about them when we could have resolved their issues. The pay gap in soccer. I don't see Palo. She's been one of the NYTT members in the subcommittee who advocated so much and spoke out against the pay gap that exists between soccer, women in soccer, and men in soccer. As the Youth League, we propagated for that. And we must continue to do that to ensure that we level the ground. I agree, Comrade Toko. We need to have, the same way we have Khabulo sessions of the YCL wherein we come and we speak politics. We need to also come in where the subcommittee on arts and culture must come in and we reflect on different issues that speaks on heritage. And also, comrades, we need to have an honest discussion about how much of conformists we are as black people. We must compare ourselves with other ethnic groups. You know how organized the Jews are? The Jews. Those Bures, the Afrikaners, they are the most organized group of people I've ever met in my life. That's why as as whites, as Afrikaners, they're able to go and build a university for their own offsprings. That's why AfriForum, Comrade Joy likes this one. It's even prepared to say they themselves, they can resolve the energy crisis in this country and bring about a nuclear energy alternative. They speak about nuclear today. The very same nuclear that they spoke out harshly against when President Zuma was the president. Because it had everything to do with our relations with Russia. But now they see the discussion on just energy transition and the renewables discussion. They will say, Bona, they can bring about an alternative in the form of a nuclear energy. But by the way, they've got the capacity if they wanted to do it. So in as much as we speak about heritage, our own heritage, we have those discussions, Comrade Tuku. We need to speak about our incapacities as the black human race. And our inability to organize ourselves better. You know, there's a region there in KZN that once did something, it was like a joke. They were preparing themselves for a military something, a war of some sort. I'm not sure which region is that. You can take that thing as a joke. But comrades, we need to prepare, we need to train our young people on basic military, tactics. Because there's a lot of things that are happening in this country, and if you're a young person, you're not opening your eyes and you're not observant on certain developments in this country. Recently, you had some group of refugees coming in, literally forced to come in. The Department of Home Affairs even went on to interdict. It's an NGO, USA NGO, I don't know, I forgot the name. It's a group of, we could even call them terrorists. They are forced to come into South Africa. What are they doing here? They cannot explain to us. But we must just fold our hands. Things happen in our country. We don't ask questions. So we need to organize ourselves better as black people in this country, so that we are prepared for any eventuality. We are the first ones to say we want to reconcile, we want peace. But it does not mean that we must sit back and relax. We must prepare for any eventuality in this country. Comrade Anela speaks about the pop culture, the popular culture. Amatuke, very interesting discussion. What we must not do, because it's our responsibility, is that in order for us to resonate with Matuke, we must go and carry 7 savannas on our heads and say we want to identify with Matukes. We must wait, go to them, find out what their struggles are, resolve their struggles, conscientize them. And that's how we win them. But she's correct. The reason I'm saying they will not resonate with us here or you, the president of Matuke, is because you don't speak their language. You don't speak their language. You are wearing ties and some t-shirts of people that have passed. They don't understand that thing. We must go to them, understand their thinking, understand what are their lived realities and what are the possible means for us to resolve, even if we cannot resolve them, by the way. We must just make noise. You make noise, you are not going to resolve this issue of these young people. Mara, you make noise so much about it. It's like when you want to shake the ANC, they can clobber you anytime, but you make noise, you just get them. There's nothing you will do. But because you understand the battle of ideas, you know that you make the necessary noise in order to get their attention. So that's how we win the votes of these young people. Comrade Clifford, I agree. We have been subjected to mediocre comrades, especially by this team that this cadre is wearing the jersey there. No, Orlando Pirates is abusing us. Was seriously abused by Orlando Pirates. And the kind of soccer that they are playing. So maybe we must go to our communities, comrades, and focus on serious teams and communities that Pirates can go and join there and compete at that level. Because we can't be subjected to this mediocre of Pirates. So comrades, I'm going to allow Comrade Joy to come and respond to some of the issues on the statements. She's our engineer there, so she will know these issues better because she's the one who deals with correspondences of the organization. But I agree, Clifford, we can't be subjected to Pirates anymore, comrades. Thank you very much.
Time is up. Thank you very much, comrades. Please disregard, as a chief administrator, of the status quo. Kindly disregard the last sentiments. The Youth League has never said that. The Youth League will never say that. Comrades, there are issues that comrades are raising here which we all agree. I think the sentiments are, and Comrade Mlaudi in our declaration, the sentiments are, it's true. The arts and culture industry has a potential to create a lot of jobs. When we were in the NYDA, I remember as a board member with Comrade Zo, we used to be very passionate about this discussion. To an extent wherein, when the SG speaks about massifying the National Youth Service, I believe that one of the resolutions of our Congress should be to create a concept document on how do you fit the arts and the arts and culture industry into the National Youth Service. For example, the department that was led by Comrade Nytt had a program called Young Patriots. And these young patriots, they were saying, no, these young people are being conscientized into our history, our heritage. And I can tell you, those young people were paid a stipend for about 2 years to go and hang flags in schools. Just hang a flag, a South African flag, nothing else. When we went and had a discussion with these young people, we understood that we could have utilized those funds because we were spending about 10 million on that program per year. We could have utilized those funds in cultivating real arts and culture, job stimulating programs. Because the NYS has a potential to bring young people, with the debate that we're having here, to bring young people to be doing something that empowers them, getting skills, while you have something that you are giving them as a stipend in the meantime. So I fully agree that we must have that concept document on how we're going to utilize the NYS to actually massify job creation opportunities in the arts and culture industry. The arts and culture industry also influences culture. You know, when I was speaking about age, I'm at 2000, even how they look, even what they dress, even how they carry themselves out. Majority of it is influenced by their favorite artists. So you can't leave that space untapped, because if you want to get hegemony, if you want to be a body of opinion, then you must then gel with that culture. So we need to get into that space. We need to at least have conversations. And I think Comrade Tangi was expanding on this thing. And I fully agree, comrades. Also fosters cohesion. I mean, me and Comrade Tangi, of course, would differ on the soccer issues. But if it is Bafana or Banyana, we will definitely find ourselves seated in the same stadium and having a conversation. Fosters cohesion, so it's very important. But one of the aspects that we actually overlook, it's the heritage side of the arts and culture industry. We had one meeting with Comrade Nytt as the Youth League during his, when he was still a minister, and he was explaining, he wanted to take us through what they are doing in the department. One of the work that they were doing, and he was saying to us, we've just renamed a whole town in Eastern Cape, Makhanda. I think it is Makhanda now. Makhanda or Makhada. Makhanda, right? Yes. Now, when he deliberated the story of Makhanda, I was actually embarrassed because I didn't know the history and the story of the role that was played by that, the Makhanda that they renamed the town after. And this is what is happening in many areas where we stay in. Mina, I stay in an area where we still call it Begasfort and Stillport, and I don't know why. And this is a place where we as young people don't play into that space. We don't tap into that space because we utilize renaming of the streets, of strategic buildings to conscientize and to then tell a story about our painful history. And this is what the colonizers did. They made sure they leave landmarks and they left this name so that their history lives beyond them. And I think that's something that we must also tap into. Comrades, we're not going to make excuses as the NYTT over the events of the last few days. And we are not making excuses because it is ill-discipline. It is out of order. It is actually more problematic because it creates a joke out of a very important organization that you dedicate your time to, that young people are looking out of that organization to give solutions. So we can't make excuses. And we're not going to point fingers that this one is wrong, that one is right, but what we are doing, at least what we have committed to be doing, is to say that we need to collectively at least take accountability for what would have transpired as the NYTT. Hence, you'd have seen us here. Either you call it redoubling efforts or whatever the case might be. But what I'm trying to say is that we will communicate collectively as the ANC Youth League, and I think what would be very important, or what we will do first, is to apologize to yourselves for our behavior that was in the public space. We would need to do that because there shouldn't be any excuse about it. It's unfortunate, it's out of order. And we are called to order, and the order is sustained. Because if we ourselves do that, how about the lower structures? And how do you reprimand and intervene and assist lower structures when they have the same problems? So that we will be doing in few days. We will be collectively speaking as an organization, as one organization. They will not be real, they will not be fake, they will be the NYTT speaking in one voice in few days on exactly what are the decisions that we have taken towards the Congress. But also, we decided, comrades, and the comrade was saying, what are your views on this reconfiguration? The ANC is our own organization, it's our mother body. We decided that we are going to engage them. Because at least the least they can do is to listen. So what we differ with is when you see your kids fighting there, you will simply say, I no longer want them, I'm giving them up for adoption. Without even coming closer to say, what is happening here? Ubani ushaye bani? Yini kwenzakalani? Nilwelani? You know? And you then teach, you intervene by teaching that that's not how we do things. That's not how we resolve issues. When you've got issues, this is how you resolve issues. And we are saying it at the background that the ANC itself, NEC, has had many problems, many public spaces which we've seen, but the organization or the structure, correctly so, has never said perhaps the solution is to disband ourselves. And they were correct. Because in the life of any organization, we are not homogeneous, we differ. There in KZN, I can tell you there is a balcony and what crew. They differ. But the solution can't be that we go to KZN and we say, we want you all gone. Can't be a solution. It's not what we believe in. We believe in constructive and progressive interventions that assist the organization. Because the plan is for the organization to live. So we are going to engage the ANC. Not publicly, we're going to meet, we are requesting to meet the NEC, firstly the officials and the working committee, because the working committee that deliberated on our matter, to go and present our case and to go and say, this is what we believe will be a prudent intervention into our problems. Because if you would know, comrades, the truth of the matter is that we don't differ fundamentally on serious issues. We differ on small technical issues, very small. So we are going to go to the ANC and humble ourselves and say, we admit this was nonsense, but this is what we've done. This is how far we've come. And we believe that the intervention is to take young people to Congress and deliver their own organization and they let them choose who they want them to lead them and stop these perpetual TTs because really they don't assist. So that we are promising. I thought I should say that, comrades, so that we don't live here with the same confusion and you having to choose real and fake. We are past that. We are now going to be one NYTT and one youth league. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Comrade Joy. Just a quick announcement. Comrades who wish to have articles or opinion pieces published can approach any member of the Youth League Education Subcommittee so that they can have their work published on the ANC today. Sorry? Fasia will clarify later. Thanks. We're going to now hand on to you.
Thank you very much, comrades. You know, the presentations are provocative, and I don't want to delve into, I just want to say a few things before I read out the declaration. You know, there's this thing called the day zero. We know it, the crisis of water and all those things. I think 2 years back in the Western Cape, a group, like an association of white cats, so an association of white folks, when there was going to be a water crisis in one of the communities. And the state was very anxious in terms of water provision. You know what they did? I think it's there on YouTube. They said to the state, our state, wait for us to decide whether to release this water to these communities. And they held a meeting in the evening of that day. Fortunately or unfortunately, they decided to release the water, and then that particular community got the water. Let's move away from water ownership, the politics of water ownership, and come to art and literature and even scholarship. What kinds of narratives are allowed in the public discourse? When you go to the airport, you pass by and you see the nature of books, the exclusive. Is that reflective of our National Liberation Project? No. You go to the archives of our own SABC. Can you have access to Chris Hani's funeral? No. The funeral of how the funeral went and all those things, the ownership of rights of all those things. So everything else revolves around ownership. Who owns what? And whether are they going to be able to allow people access to such resources or not? Let me leave politics and get to what I'm tasked to do. The ANC Youth League held its national political school from the 17th to the 18th of March 2023 in Gauteng province. The national political school was attended by 200 participants from all provinces, regions, and branches of the ANC Youth League, as well as international guests from different fraternal organizations across the African continent. The political school was convened as part and parcel of developing the political, ideological, and organizational capacity of the youth movement to carry out its mission and mandate. The school was also convened in the midst of the deepening social, political, and economic crisis that the country faces and has to overcome, from the energy crisis to that of social reproduction. It is within the context of these realities that serious and authentic deliberations had and still have to take place until we overcome them. As such, and in line with the commitment to break with the convention, the political education and ideological training subcommittee sought by all means necessary that at the end of the political school, we have not merely ticked the box, but rather have been able to cultivate new, radical, and uncompromising voices and imaginations in pursuit of the historic mission of the National Liberation Movement. In its founding manifesto of 1944, the ANC Youth League observes, and this is very important, the formation of this league, says the manifesto, is an attempt on the part of youth to impart to Congress a truly national character. It is also a protest against the lack of discipline and the absence of a clearly defined goal in the movement as a whole. The Congress Youth League must be the brain trust and power station of the spirit of African nationalism, the spirit of African self-determination, the spirit that is so discernible in the thinking of our youth. It must be an organization where young African men and women will meet and exchange ideas in an atmosphere pervaded by a common hatred of oppression. At this power station, the League will be coordinating agency for all youthful forces employed in rousing popular political consciousness and fighting oppression and reaction. It will educate the people politically by concentrating its energies on the African home front to make all sections of our people Congress-minded and nation-conscious. It is within this context, as consciously expressed by the National Political School, that the ANC Youth League has to anchor its mission, the mission that is consistent with the National Project of National Liberation and Freedom. The National Liberation Project, as recognized and acknowledged, is not about abstract ideals, but the true expressions of people's desires and aspirations. The ANC Youth League must inform the overall agenda of the National Liberation Project. It must inspire the content and character of the National Liberation Project to realize its historic mission. The Youth League must fashion its agenda in line with this National Liberation Project and constantly enrich and jealously safeguard it against deterioration and betrayal. And this is what the process of renewal, repositioning, repurposing, and rebuilding must take into consideration. The ANC Youth League must understand the revolutionary importance of servant leadership, and by so doing, connect with the people whose aspirations it must embody. Our orientation to the people should be based on such a revolutionary ethic. The political and moral framework of the movement should be a reflection of what people want. As such, the distance between the people and the ANC should not exist. This is because the ANC as a national liberation movement is an instrument through which people shape their destinies, as it was expressed yesterday. And this is what the ANC Youth League must jealously safeguard against and enrich. It must therefore be stated with no uncertain terms that it can only be an anti-imperialist. And I want to emphasize this because we normally dilly-dally when it comes to ideological questions. The declaration says it can only be an anti-imperialist, anti-colonial, anti-capitalist, anti-patriarchal, anti-homophobic, anti-transphobic ANC Youth League that can best safeguard the noble ideals of the National Liberation Project. It is only a militant, radical, and renewed ANC Youth League that can take back the ANC to the revolutionary line, just as the AP and Anton Lembede generation did. It is only a political and ideological and organizationally disciplined and mature youth of the National Liberation Movement that can prevent the slide into neo-colonialism and neoliberalism. It is this imaginative body of opinion that can safeguard against the deterioration, degeneration, and decay of the National Liberation Project. Over and above governance and leadership concerns, as we have expressed now, art and literature can be used to empower young people. We cannot afford to ignore the importance of art and literature in controlling the narrative in line with the goals of the National Liberation Project. And of course, more work is going to be done on that. The National Political School recognizes and acknowledges that it is only through a sound, responsive, revolutionary political and ideological framework that the National Liberation Project can be protected and taken to its logical end. It is through a sound, revolutionary political and ideological framework that problems of unemployment, poverty, GBV, diseases, inequalities, ecological destruction, energy crisis, mental health related illnesses, and as Ukomre Tlangu was saying, and many others can be overcome. We therefore declare in this National Political School our commitment to the ideals of the National Liberation Project. This is part of our collective hatred of the system of oppression and injustices, as stated with no uncertain terms in the founding manifesto of the ANC Youth League. May this political school serve as a basis for debate as we approach the National Congress of the ANC Youth League. The days we have had in this National Political School have demonstrated that we are able to unite and work together to renew, rebuild, revive, reimagine, and reposition the ANC Youth League now and forever. This is the end of the official statement, a declaration, by the way, that we have crafted. And I just want to say one thing, is that in the ranks of the ANC Youth League, we have policy planners and we have state planners, whether in the actual or potential sense. I know I'm always accused of always being overprotective of the black working class, because to alabantu bayadayisa. But one of the things I want to say is that we are the only people who are going to be able to help ANC to go back to its revolutionary line. And if we don't take up that initiative, and if we are not going to have the courage of our convictions to say, our leaders who have shares in monopoly companies that exploit our people should stop or else exit the revolutionary movement. If we are not going to have, so if we are not going to have the courage of our convictions to state that, then we are not going to go anywhere. Because simply put, once you are a shareholder of a company, your priority is nothing else but dividends, not development. That's how it is. So these are some of the things that we need to be very uncompromising in articulating them as the ANC Youth League. In our political education sessions, in whatever sessions that we may have at the branch level, at the regional level, at the provincial level. But the buck stops with us as young people in the ANC to be able to bring ANC back to the revolutionary line while we still accord our politics with the project of the National Liberation Movement. Thank you very much.
I'll just pretend that I am tall. Amandla! Our two. Comrades, you've just received the declaration of this political school. I know there's going to be quite a bit of documentation that will be coming from our discussions, but that's just a bit of a high level of where we are. Comrades, we are joined actually by the ANC NEC, who I'm about to acknowledge. I also want to let you know, so we're going to get the ANC NEC, then we're going to have a nice musical item, the performance, and then we'll move towards vote of thanks and closure. But comrades, I must acknowledge Comrade Puti Manamela, who is the Deputy Minister of Higher Education, but he is also an ANC NEC member directly elected in the 55th National Congress. Let's give him a round of applause. He's also a leader from the party, and we're going to abuse him for a moment and just ask him to come and greet youth leaguers who've spent the last 2 days in intense political debate. We're just going to ask him to come and greet comrades so that we know that the ANC NEC definitely had their footprint in this particular program. Comrade Buti, yesterday I tried to sing, it went badly, so... No, I said, yesterday I tried to sing, it went very badly, so I'm leaving it to the crowd.
Amandla. Thank you, comrades.
Mandla. Thank you, Comrade Program Directors. Let me firstly send my greetings to the members of the National Youth Task Team of the ANC Youth League, Comrade Coordinator and Convener. I didn't see the convener, but also the leadership of the ANC Youth League from the different levels, province, region, and also probably if it's extended to branches, I doubt. But thank you very much, comrades, for having me here and also inviting me to come and say one or two things. Comrade Fasia was insistent because I thought well, no one should speak after the declaration, but she was insistent. So I thought that I must just say three things and then go and sit down. I think the first thing is really to applaud this political school. We need to invest more time in political education. And that's the only way within which we can build a cadreship that would firstly be responsible for taking up leadership in the ANC. And we can only do that if we have the capabilities, the organizational skill, the appreciation of theory of our revolution, but also the understanding and appreciation of the challenges, the needs, interests, and aspirations of young people that can only be inculcated in political education. But also more importantly, that the battle internally, but also externally in society is a battle of ideas. It's about how dominant our ideas are in society. It's about whether the youth of the country understands and appreciates what we mean by a national democratic revolution and what their role is in that national democratic revolution and why it is important that we mobilize them through the continuous struggle for the liberation of blacks and Africans from economic and political bondage. So for us to have cadres to contribute and help us dominate our ideas in society, we need well-trained cadres who understands our theory and who are able to clearly articulate what that theory is and why it is important and why it is relevant amongst young people. Many a times, and I think we've seen it recently, that if we have young leaders who do not appreciate the value of theory and understanding where our society is, we'll basically have howlers, people who would want to trash stuff, people who want to see or who define being radical and militant as being trashing stuff. It's precisely because we're not grounded and we have run out of space theoretically and in terms of ideas, more so because we haven't invested our time and effort in political education. And so we really appreciate this. This is important. The third thing is that the appreciation of this political education school is that it falls squarely within the program of broadly the ANC's political education. As you know, we obviously are approaching elections, and our focus in terms of political education would now mostly be around training our cadres to go and execute the tasks that are needed as we go into the elections campaign. But more importantly, in advocating for the program of the ANC and the program of the ANC Youth League. And so this is why this is important. We have within the OR Tambo School the Ruth Fest leadership program, which targets young people between the ages of 18 and 35. And I hope that when we start with the recruitment, the Youth League will obviously be the reservoir within which we will recruit young people to go through the Ruth Fest leadership program. It's going to be a 3-year program with different sub-programs, but the intention is to build a well-rounded cadre who understand what it means to be a leader, to be an activist, to be a cadre in the different disciplines of our movement. And so this program is important in feeding into that broader program of the OR Tambo Political School. Now, political education, comrades, must not be a function of venues, of dates, of speakers on the podium. And so it shouldn't end here. And I hope, Comrade Joy, that this will obviously spill into our provinces, our regions, our sub-regions, and also our branches, for us to continue with the good work that we have done this week. Now, I think we all know and appreciate the fact that the ANC, the broader movement, is under attack. And so, it means readying our cadres for that battle. And readying our cadres for that battle doesn't mean that we should form a human wall, but it means that firstly, we must have cadres who understand what kind of an attack we're experiencing, but also how do we respond to that attack. And the attack may seem to be towards either the president or the government, but the attack basically would generally be around the historic mission of the ANC and of the broader movement. And so having to ready our cadres through political education, through political engagements, through teasing the most exciting issues of our times and locating them squarely within what our struggle is for and how we take that struggle forward is going to help us quite a great deal. And so this platform, I see it as important in contributing towards a response on the attack on the ANC. And so I hope that with all the lessons that we have gathered here, that they were not lessons for their own sake. With all the skills that we may have appreciated, the ideas we have exchanged throughout the time of the political school, that we're going to advocate them out there. And the beautiful thing about knowledge accumulated is that when you spread it, you do not lose it. In fact, when you spread it and engage with other comrades in the process, you also learn certain things from those comrades. So that's where we're going to be. So from here, I hope we'll continue with the slogan, each one, teach one. Thank you very much, comrades. All the best.
Thank you very much. That was loud. Thank you very much to the ANC NEC. I think, giving us a nice way to almost close off the weekend session. I'm now going to welcome a very nice part of the program before we get the vote of thanks and closure. I'm going to welcome to the stage Sizwe Kumbuza and Mangoba Yazo, who are both, one's a musical artist, another's an actor. People may know them, not just from our TV screens, but from our social media. And we are very lucky to be graced by their presence. I'm handing over to them. Round of applause. Let's pick up the energies.
Kuthenga ungena umfana wengamula bathula qhuma ibatata wekalo yebhuka ngiphethe nefashol umkhothi ngiyaguma suka nasensiswa siyadlula ngoba umkhothi ngiyaguma suka endleleni yasona mambuka hlahla somdleba mehla yophamu sangoma somkhube sabhula mampunga zokushiyana entshitini sidanga safonda mangabulifaka mamela ngiqhosha nqathile ngiqhalaqhala ngiqaphe qolomila mamela Kangalisa into baqethela kade senqethisa into baqalela bejikele sabona bethathela qaphe qono njengonqaba uqaphela ntuthwane singibisa amaphele enqabela inyanya sakithi naso singqabela sithe godini mina ngingempela she niyaphela asa she fulani uwe ngabuyazo zufulani domi zokunika lenginika bona batasobalela manghlule Emila manghlule yusifolu amila zokunika lenginika bona batasobalela manghlule Emila manghlule yasi Shayele vamos yo benzaye ubunga paso ngaphezulu ngukune maye mina nawe fula shayele vamos yo benzaye ubunga paso ngaphezulu ngukune maye lale yasithi hello my sweet uthando lami lwele mfimfimfi angisaba weli that kiss umshiya ngithi yo tiki Giti, I see a peshe Paris. Do you see a connecta imareti? Sandal Disemoyeni, this some shit. Shile, his big, he will have your Pamela Chivil. angisafune sithi phela uyangixolela mpintshi mpintshi amini ngizokunika lenginika kona kodwa ngizobaleka mangihluleka emila mangihluleka emila mangihluleka emila ngizokunika lenginika kona kodwa ngizobaleka mangihluleka emila mangihluleka emila mangihluleka yasi mina nawe ngulashayele mbambo siyokwenzaye ubonga phansi ngaphezulu kukunemba kamhaye maye mina nawe ngulashayele mbambo siyokwenzaye ubonga phansi ngaphezulu mama like what bahleba bathi labanganga bathi ngika-afford and then what batshela ishona shake that in a yacht let me think and right angifune khuluma mina manje into engibhekile usuku lomshado kulama wo like I'm here ithi ningena phina ngempela mangithetha lula angithethe lapha anibonisa thetha lula bathi mina ngizokunika lenginika kona kodwa ngizobaleka mangihluleka emila mangihluleka emila mangihluleka amina ngizokunika lenginika kona kodwa ngizobaleka mangihluleka emila mangihluleka emila mangihluleka yasi mina nawe ngulashayele mbambo siyokwenzaye ubonga phansi ngaphezulu maye maye mina nawe ngulashayele mbambo siyokwenzaye ubonga phansi ngaphezulu kukunemba kamhaye maye eshe yaso ina this asa the right but right about eshe awiba but right about kumnandi la ekhaya zinhle intombi la ka-ANC madoda I need to consider something zinhle intombi my ebafo lapho lo uhamba bamba amanamba la masiphuma yeah hayi iphelile obana bashaya izamalekhe nami la ngifuna ukubona bakhona bashaya nami lela sim asa fish obana bayazi asa 1 2 3 ubaba wami enwayishaya izamalekhe uhayeshaya impela kusekusesene ubaba wami enwayishaya izamalekhe uhayeshaya impela kusekusesene ethi kimi noma ngidakiwe ubaba wakho mntanami athi noma ngiphuzile athi ngubaba wakho noma ngidakiwe ethi ngingane yakho noma ngidakile hayi emalunde mayimalunde yena wayelala emalunde yasothi baba noma usuphuzile kodwa usithanda noma inhliziyo yami yona ibikhatha kodwa uthando lwakho lona belamandla amandla wakho ubungawafesikithi uthando lwakho ilona vele ugcwele kithi mangithi impela ukusihlukumeza ngabe ngihamba mangapha ngobuso bakho baba ngabe sekemithi abantu impela phambili impundwe mina ngoba mangalawi impela phambili impundwe mina ngoba wembuyasi ubaba wayeshaya impela kusekusesene ethi ubaba wami enwayishaya izamalekhe wayeshaya impela kusekusesene wayethi kimi noma ngidakiwe ubaba wakho mntanami athi noma ngiphuzile athi ubaba wakho mntanami athi noma ngidakiwe athi ubaba wakho mntanami Emalunde. Hey, Emalunde. Hey, Emalunde. Woo, sengqedile angithi. Sengqedile. Hayi, sengqedile. Yazi i-leadership ithule la phambili iyabona ukhathele lo mfana manje. Lalela wonke umuntu ngifuna sukumeke kule. Ngithemba uyabona dala. Lo luthanda ngikuthanda hala. Lona lujulile nganabantu. Ngithemba uyabona ngithanda umuntu nje. Lo luthanda ngikuthanda hala. Lona lujulile. Asambeni ithi kona mashadeni. Mashadeni sana kudaba zabantu. Kona angizwa mashadeni wena ntona kudaba zabantu. Yazi ayithini? Awutshele wenza ngani sana lene yenza khithi inhliziyo yami ngoba njalo mangibona yazi kubanda kwamancane ithi awenza ngani sana lene yenza khithi inhliziyo yami ngoba njalo konke ufuna sisho sonke yazi ithini It's sweetie, 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 sweetie love, a sweetie love. It's a sweetie, 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 sweetie love. Yes, love, a sweetie. Okay, a stop. It's it. I'm begging you, remind. I'm eating begging you. A sweetie love, a sweetie. You tell me about la darling. Lolo tanda ngikuthanda hala lona lujulile ngani abantu nje lawena ngithemba uyabona mthanda umuntu nje lolo tanda ngikuthanda hala lona lujulile ngani 1 2 kona mashadeni Mashadeli wena udaba zabantu. Ithi khona mashadeli wena. Ithi mashadeli wena. Mashadeli wena. Ungakulingi ibambe bafu. Eshe. Siyabonga. Shucks. Bayintshontsha angisenayo. Asambeni. Dlala ingoma mntana ekhehla. Usaqala imishini ke lapha. Asambeni mkhulu. Ayisep. Sebentshontshile. Ayifuni ukudlala lenkabi lena, asihlaleni phansi simlinde. Are you ready? Okay, 1 2 3. Hilanga funga Ngeke ngibuye khona namhlanje. Mina ngiyafunga wena ntombi. Awungeke ngibuye khona namhlanje. Ngoba 247 ngeke ngibuye khona namhlanje. 247 my love. 247 ngeke ngibuye khona namhlanje. 247 don't get me wrong with my way. I'm not trying to run away. Ngiyobheka amajita nje phela. Sikhuhla utshwala kusesele. Ngele club ngikhaza shukuma. Ingane ebhakile la ngifuma. Mina ngiyasebenza nje. Khona ngeqala mini. Bafana bethe bathi kulithi. Into wangiyasinga kithi. Ngayithina thathela udlamini. Sayifika mase kwasekuseni. Mina ngizange ngibonde nje. Mina ngizange. Ithi she mina ngiyafunga wena ntombi yami uzolala wedwa. Ngeke ngibuye khona namhlanje. Mina ngiyafunga wena ntombi yami. Ngoba ngeke ngibuye khona namhlanje. 247 my love. 247 ngeke ngibuye khona namhlanje. 247 my love. 247 awungeke ngibuye khona namhlanje. 247 yazi wathi batile asaluma qashela nahlwile nto. Ngiyabona umama wekhaya ayebonile awuphelana nangishathusa sovele athi awuphelela umshado mina khona ngeqala milinde nje wentombi ngibambe wena mina ngiyacela mina ngizange hawu mina ngizange ngibonde mina ngiyafunga wena ntombi yami uzolala wedwa. Ngeke ngibuye khona namhlanje. Mina ngiyafunga wena ntombi yami uzolala wedwa. Ngeke ngibuye khona namhlanje. 247 my love. 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 Ngeke ngibuye khona namhlanje. 247 my siyabonga. Siyabonga kakhulu. Sibonga kakhulu. Cha sengiqedile ke manje sengene 247. Buke wangpeka nje. Buke wangpeka nje. Inkinga yaqala kade ubona ukuthi ngiyakwazi ukubekezela. Manje uvela uphekele, ngithi ngidinga usizo kuvela uphekele yawe. Inkinga yaqala kade kuthiwa indoda ayikhali yabekezela. Indoda kumele ihluleke noma kunzima indoda kumele ihluleke yawe. Please check on me the same way that I check on you. Noma ungakwazi but fake it cool. By my side, I don't care no more. I say this and it's no more. unokuthi uvele uthule pho ukuthi nungabona ukuthi I've been drinking more. Shit. Uke wangibheka, kabe uke wangibheka nje. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uke wangibheka, kabe uke wangibheka nje. Thank you very much, Kama Mawiyazu.
Is it? Woo! Guys, huge round of applause. What an excellent performance. I went to the ANC and I told them, you see, when you have young people, we do the work, we do the political education, and we have fun. We must put young people in all of our positions of leadership. Comrade Precious, it's over to you. Comrades, we'll take our pictures after. Let's just come for the vote of thanks. The team worked very hard for you to have a nice weekend, and also for our artists to come. Let's all just take a seat, and then we can take our pictures afterwards.
Thank you, Amandla. Comrades, let's sit down. We are just closing. We're flattered by the artists. Yeah. The Youth League is flattered. Thank you, comrades. Comrade coordinator, my task is to just give a vote of thanks to everyone that has been here, starting with yourselves, comrade program directors, Comrade Bess and Comrade Fasia, for the sterling work that you have done throughout from the time that we started yesterday. Let's also take this opportunity to appreciate the political school has been work of not only the political education subcommittee. We had to bring in organizing to bring us the artists that have been performing here. We had to work with youth development to bring us the debate. We had to work with policy to work on the document. So it's actually work of different subcommittees coming together. So we appreciate also the subcommittees of the NYTT. Going forward, appreciating our convener could not make it today. She apologized attending to a family emergency, but she wished us well. As you saw, she was with us yesterday. So Comrade Joy and Comrade Nongeba, we also appreciate the leadership you have shown being here. And also we leave this meeting, showing a united front by both of you and showing that, yes, we do differ, but we know on the things that we can unite on, and we have the capacity to go beyond our differences. Our fundraiser also has been doing a lot of work. She has been with us. She is part of the subcommittees, HEFINCOM, that made this work a success. Let's also thank the artists that performed, the team, just the team to stand up. Mostly we forget them. We speak about everybody and we forget those who don't sleep, who put the work together. Can we have the team stand up? The team to stand up. Yeah. Thank you so much for that. Comrades, let's also thank the Young Women's Desk. Comrade Sarah has been here with us. COSAS, SASCO, COSATU Young Workers. The Young Communist League submitted an apology because they were having their very first national committee meeting since their election. So we accepted that apology from the YCL and the leadership, the NEC, for being here. Our speakers from Comrade Mandlana, Comrade Sputla, everyone that presented here, Comrade Toli, Comrade Tlangi, Comrade Ashley, everyone that presented, we really appreciate for making the conversations in the political school a success. I think, comrades, last but not the least is everyone, the provinces, the corporation, how you, comrades, organized yourselves, the resources that provinces put in to send delegations to come here. We don't take that for granted. And our plea is that, because what came out strongly here is that we must continue to normalize these kind of platforms that we ventilate, issues that we think are going to take the organization forward. So provinces, we leave you to go home with a request that let's have provincial and regional political schools. Can we have regional political schools where we are going to bring branches, zones and sub-regions? Can we have provinces do the same so that we normalize political education? All these other things that don't concern us, let's leave them. Reconfiguration, it's not our issue. Let's continue the work of rebuilding. The ANC leadership is going to guide us. So moving from here, we'll be excited to hear that the regions and provinces that are taking this up to ensure that the conversation does not die, it continues. Those that stayed here, the announcement is that we're checking out. We wish you all well, travel safely. For those that are going to be traveling today, please don't drink and drive, don't text and drive, be safe. For those that are going to have fun, we always insist, have fun safely also. So we have arrived at the end. Thank you, and see you again after the National Congress.
Of house. Oh, it's time for Gideon Lana.